Good day everyone, for this video we are going to talk about poetry, particularly its forms and classifications. Before anything else, we're going to have a short recap of what poetry is. Poetry is an art form in which human language is used for its aesthetic qualities. Also, it is often described as literature in metrical form or compositions forming rhythmic lines. Furthermore, poetry is often created from the need to escape the logical, as well as expressing feelings and other expressions. In terms of forms, poetry has three major forms. First is the lyric poetry, which is a form of poetry wherein a speaker in the poem expresses strong feelings or emotions and thoughts. We also have the descriptive poetry, wherein it is considered as a poem that describes the world that surrounds the speaker, as it uses elaborate imagery and adjectives. And lastly, we have the narrative poetry, which is a type of poetry that tells a story. Its structure resembles the plot line of a story. Now at this point, we're going to focus on the different types of poetry, this according to masterclass.com. First, we have the blank verse, which is a poetry written with a precise meter, almost always a iambic pentameter that does not rhyme. Next, we also have rhyme poetry, which is in contrast to blank verse. Rhyme poems rhyme by definition, although their scheme would vary. We also have the free verse poetry, which is poetry that lacks a consistent rhyme scheme, metrical pattern, or musical form. Let's look at this example of a blank verse poetry. We have Tintern Abbey by William Wordsworth. 5 years have passed, 5 summers with the length of 5 long winters, and again I hear these waters rolling from their mountain springs, with a soft inland murmur. Once again do I behold these steep and lofty cliffs, that on a wild secluded scene impress thoughts of more deep seclusion, and connect the landscape with the quiet of the sky. If we're going to analyze this particular poem, remember one of the characteristics is that it is usually a iambic pentameter. So if we're going to analyze the pattern of the weak and accented syllables, we're going to observe that it usually follows the pattern of weak followed by an accented syllable over and over again. If we're going to count the number of feet, we're able to observe that this is an example of a pentameter, an iambic pentameter. Also, another example or another characteristic of the blank verse poetry is that it doesn't have a rhyming scheme. As such, we have the words length, here, springs, again, cliffs, impress, connect, and sky, all of which do not have any particular rhyme with any of the words within the poem. For rhyme poetry, let's look at the following examples. Let's have the first one. Oh love, hear me dearly, as I open my heart so purely. My love for you is as wide as the big blue sky, higher than the tallest mountain peak, clearer than what words cannot speak. Based on the number of lines here, we could say that this is an example of a cinquain. If we're going to analyze the last words per line, we have dearly and purely. We have sky, we have peak, and speak. Based on these examples, we're able to recognize that dearly and purely share the same ending sounds, while sky is standalone, and peak and speak also share the same ending sounds. Thus, for this first example, the rhyming scheme is AABCC. Let's look at the second example. Looking for answers to questions in my mind with all the lingering confusions. Finding a way to leave all things behind, free from reality's harsh distortions. Again, from the following example, we have a 4-line poem here, suggesting that this is an example of a quatrain. From the ending words, we have mind, confusions, behind, and distortions. From this particular example, we're able to recognize that mind and behind share the same ending sounds. Confusions and distortions also share the same ending sounds. Thus, for this particular example, the rhyming scheme is AB, AB. And for a free verse poetry, we have this example here. Walking alone in the Garden of Eden, feeling the moist, tender grass on my bare feet, I let out a slight quiver as the cold breeze kisses my cheeks and the warm sun embracing my soul. This is an example of a quatrain because it has 4 lines in this particular poem. If we're going to analyze, there are no rhyming words and there are no patterns in terms of the meter that is suggested in this poem. Hence, it's called a free verse because again, it does not have a meter. There is no rhyming scheme. In other words, it is free from restrictions. The poem is actually one way for the poet to express himself in a manner that he is comfortable with. To continue with the different types of poetry, still from masterclass.com, we have epics. Epics are lengthy narrative works of poetry which typically detail extraordinary feats and adventures of characters from a distant past. We also have the haiku, which is a 3-line poetic form originating in Japan. The first line has 5 syllables, the second line has 7 syllables, and the third line again has 5 syllables. We also have the limerick, which is a 5-line poem that consists of a single stanza, an AABBA rhyming scheme, and whose subject is a short, pithy tale or description. Remember that an epic is a narrative poem that narrates the different adventures and heroic deeds as well as extraordinary feats done by a certain character. Some famous examples would be the Filipino epic Life of Lamang, which narrates the different adventures and struggles which are overcome by Lamang in his conquest to avenge his father's death. Another example would be Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, which narrates the different events that led to the Trojan War, as well as the adventures encountered by Odysseus in his conquest to return home safely. Let's have the following examples for a haiku. Remember that a haiku is a 3-line poem composed of 17 syllables. White sands by the bay, covering murky waters, for my mental health. If we're going to analyze the lines or the number of syllables per line, for the first line we have 5 syllables. For the second line we have 7 syllables. And again, another 5 syllables for the third line. Let's have another example. Early morning peace with the bright sun's warm embrace, a feeling of bliss. Same principle, we have 5 syllables in the first line, followed by 7 syllables in the second line, and another 5 syllables in the third line. For limerick, let's focus on this example. There was a small boy of Quebec who was buried in snow to his neck. When they said, "Are you Frizz?" he replied, "Yes, I is. But we don't call this cold in Quebec." This is an example of There Was a Small Boy of Quebec by Rudyard Kipling. If we are going to analyze the ending words per line, we have Quebec and neck. We have frizz and is. And we also have another word which is Quebec. If we're going to analyze, we have Quebec and neck and Quebec, which are similar sounding words. We also have frizz and is. Based on this example, the premise of a limerick would be this. The first, second, and fifth lines are longer than the third and fourth lines. In terms of rhyming scheme, the longer A lines rhyme with each other than the shorter B lines that rhyme with each other. To continue with the different types of poetry, we have pastoral poetry, which is one that concerns the natural world, rural life, and landscapes. These poems have persevered from ancient Greece to ancient Rome to the present day. We also have sonnet, which is a 14-line poem typically but not exclusively concerning the topic of love. Sonnets contain internal rhymes within their 14 lines. The exact rhyme scheme depends on the style of a sonnet, later which we'll be discussing. And we also have elegy, which reflects upon death or loss. Traditionally, it contains themes of mourning, loss, and reflection. It can also explore themes of redemption and consolation. Now at this point, let's focus on the sonnet. A sonnet could be divided into two major types. We have the Petrarchan sonnet and the Shakespearean sonnet. How are they different? And how are they the same? Well, both are the same in that they have 14 lines. They are different because in a Petrarchan sonnet, it is composed of one octave, which is 8 lines, with the rhyming scheme ABBA, ABBA, and one sestet, which is composed of 6 lines, which follows the rhyming scheme of CDE and CDE. Whereas a Shakespearean sonnet is divided into 3 quatrains, which total of 4 lines, times 3 would be 12 lines, and 1 couplet, which is 2 lines. It follows the rhyming scheme ABAB, CD, CD, EF, EF, GG. Also, a Shakespearean sonnet is usually a iambic pentameter. Let's have this example for a sonnet. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with a remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. This is an example of a sonnet, particularly a sonnet 116 by William Shakespeare. If we're going to analyze the division of stanzas, we have 4 lines per stanza, which suggests that each particular stanza is a quatrain. As mentioned earlier, a Shakespearean sonnet is composed of 4 quatrains and 1 couplet. Let's further discuss other types of poetry. Still from masterclass.com, we have the ode. The ode, much like an elegy, is a tribute to its subject, although the subject need not be dead or even sentient. We also have the ballad, which is a form of narrative verse that can be either poetic or musical. It typically follows a pattern of rhymed quatrains and represents a melodious form of storytelling. We also have the soliloquy. A soliloquy is a monologue in which a character speaks to himself or herself, expressing inner thoughts that an audience might not otherwise know. It is worth noting that soliloquies are not definitionally poems, although they often can be, most famously in the plays of William Shakespeare. In addition to the types and examples given earlier, we also have the tanka, which is a Japanese poem. The tanka is a short lyric poem with syllables of 5, 7, 5, 7, and 7. It is longer than haiku by the last 2 syllables. We also have the tanaga in the Philippines, which is a type of short Filipino poem consisting of 4 lines with 7 syllables each, with the same rhyme at the end of each line. In addition to the tanaga, we also have the dalit, which is a type of short Filipino poem consisting of 4 lines with 8 syllables each with the same rhyme at the end of each line, as well as the dayona, which is a type of short Filipino poem consisting of 3 lines with 7 syllables each with the same rhyme at the end of each line. Let's have the following examples for tanaga and dalit. Remember that the tanaga is a Filipino poem, hence the language that we're going to use for this example is in Filipino. Tumatawag sa langit, sana ay huwag magalit, tadhana ay makita, malimot, pagdududa. If we're going to analyze just like the description, a tanag is composed of 4 lines with 7 syllables per line. If we're going to count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, which is recurrent in each of the lines. In terms of the rhyming scheme, we have langit and galit, we have makita and pagdududa. Since this is in Filipino, we're counting the last sound of the last syllable. Hence, langit and galit have the same sound, and makita and pagduda would have the same ending sounds. Hence, for this particular tanaga, it follows the rhyming scheme AABB. For dalit, we have this one. Mula sa pagkakapikit, ako'y tumingin sa langit. Oras-oras ito'y sambit. Dalangin naway makamit. Remember that the dalit is similar to the tanaga. However, it differs in terms of the number of syllables per line. In tanaga, there would be 7 syllables per line, whereas in dalit, it would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The dalit would have 8 syllables per line. In terms of the rhyming scheme, we have pagkakapikit, langit, sambit, and makamit. The last words per line would all have the same ending sounds. As such, we could have the conclusion that this particular dalit would have the rhyming scheme of A. In conclusion, poetry has different types. Each type has its own unique characteristics that makes it different from the other types. Recognizing these types and their characteristics allows us to create our own versions of different poetry that adhere to these characteristics. Also, this allows us to make our own poems more effective and meaningful.